here are 5 horses to look out for from last weekend at the Cheltenham's November meeting, and Navan as well, that was on that weekend. The last 2 horses on this list are almost certain to be big each-way players at the Cheltenham Festival in March. Number 5 is Wingmen, a nicely bred horse trained by Gordon Elliott. He ran to a Racing Post rating of 127 in a maiden hurdle at Navan over 2 miles 4. I also think the second horse in that race, 40 Coats, is a decent prospect. But the 2 of them pulled well clear. I don't think they're going to be top grade 1 horses or anything like that, but it was certainly an above average maiden, and the winner and the runner up, both horses to look out for. The winner did jump out to his right a little bit, but he's got a little bit of quality about him, and I suspect both of those horses will do well this season. Number 2 on the list is Down Memory Lane, another Gordon Elliott trained horse, this one owned by JP McManus. He won Beginner's Chase over 2 miles 1, and he beat Nürburgring and King of Kingsfield, 2, very useful horses, and he absolutely battered them. Looked really, really nice type, jumped nicely, and just looked, a well above average chaser down memory lane. Where he goes from here is anyone's guess, but he could be a top class chaser in the making. Ran to a Racing Post rating of 146, which is a very good start by anyone's standards. Down memory lane, certainly one for the top 5 here. Number 3 on the list is Nigel Twiston-Davies's Potter's Charm, the first of our Cheltenham runners. He won the Grade 2 Albert Bartlett trial, and he ran to a Racing Post rating of 146, backed it up with a really good speed figure. The best winner of the race since Time Hill won the race back in 2019. It looks like Nigel Twiston-Davies definitely has a little bit of a tool on his hands in Potter's Charm, and he could be certainly an each-way prospect for Cheltenham Festival as well. There's 3 in this list, all of whom put up their hands as being Cheltenham prospects. Number 4 on the list is East India Doc, who won the Triumph Hurdle Trial. Ran to a Racing Post rating of 134, backed it up with a top speed figure, Racing Post top speed figure of 122, which is excellent work. But beyond that, it was just the way he travelled, the way he jumped. He went about his business in a really classy, professional manner. You can tell he's just made for jumping, made for being a really, really useful juvenile hurdler. I think he's around about 7 or 8 to 1 for the JCB Triumph Hurdle. Not a bad price, really. It's very early on in the day. Basically, nobody has put up their hand yet with another good juvenile, so there will be lots more good juveniles, but he is certainly one of them, and is definitely a Cheltenham prospect at this stage. A little bit out of left field was Le de Sud for Dan Skelton, who won the Arkle trial in imperious fashion. He was a pretty decent handicap hurdler as a hurdler, but he's just one of those horses that you put him over fences and he just comes alive. Again, his jumping was excellent. He travelled really powerfully. He powered up the hill away from a couple of good horses, decent horses. He's 10 to 1 for the Arkle. That's just about right with Ballyburn in there. But he's an exciting horse for Dan Skelton, and it was good to see him win. A couple of honourable mentions here from that weekend. Found a 50, a top-class novice chaser from last year. He won the Fortria chase, given £7 to the runner-up. It was a reasonable performance, but he was jumping badly out to his right, and just in terms of trip and class and overall quality, I hope that he doesn't become a little bit of an in-betweeny horse this season, but we'll see. He got the job done anyway, but I have just 1 or 2 question marks about him. Another one was Bleu de Vassy for Gordon Elliott for Gigginstown. A really smart novice hurdler for sure. The reason he didn't make the top 5, visually he would have done, but just on the numbers, he didn't do a great deal on the clock that day for his second spin over hurdles. I think much sterner examinations of his class will be to come for Bleu de Vassy. Where he's going to sit in the overall pecking order come spring, I'm not so sure. We'll see. He's obviously had a very good start. He's a classy animal. Let's see what he does. But he didn't make the top 5, but an honourable mention nonetheless. And lastly was G.A. Law, or Ga Law, in the Paddy Power Chase, who ran to a Racing Post rating of 160 in defeat. He made a couple of jumping errors and powered up the hill regardless. He only denied by Il Ridotto as a course specialist, running off 10 stone 2, so I thought it was a really good effort from the runner-up, G.A. Law. He could too be a little bit of an in-betweeny horse in terms of being a Grade 1 prospect, but it was a very, very good run from him, and he's due to step up in trip again up to 3 miles, so interesting to see where he goes. But knowing Jamie Snowden, I'm sure he'll punch upwards and try to land a big pot with GA Law or GA Law this season. And again, just one for the honourable mentions list.